Good Sunday morning, just barely. It's 10:55 here in Idaho. Just thought I would go ahead and do what I always do every week, make a live stream. Just here with my son. I'm excited because I finally get to start on my React series, my React portfolio series, which is pretty fun. After doing so many tutorials over like the past year that I've been like learning, it's nice to just create something. It's really not that fun going through the tutorials, like a whole bunch of them. It's exciting because you get to build things, but once you get to a certain level, you're ready to create. And I've been that way for quite a long time, but you always get stuck. So I try to learn as much as I can, but some things are unavoidable. They just come with experience. And so it's time to do that. Hey, what's going on, Ramsey? How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Yesterday I just kind of dug into the last of my tutorials that I was using, and it's time to create. It's going to be really weird not coding so much, and doing a lot of like planning and designing and writing and research, which is always different, interesting, to be honest. It's way different to do research. Good morning, son. My 10-year-old always says good morning to me on these things, which is great. But he should be doing his reading, but he's not. So yeah. What's going on, Corey? What's good? Hey, Corey says hi to you. Thanks, Corey. That means a lot. What are you guys up to? I was just talking about React, my React portfolio and stuff. Sunil, how's it going? How can you improve your coding skills in JS? Absolutely great question, Sunil. The easiest thing to do, in my opinion, is to learn algorithms and data structures. And we've talked about this a lot on this course, or on this channel, but I'll go over it briefly. Algorithms and data structures, specifically algorithms, is going to simplify things. You're not going to have to do HTML and CSS and juggle that while learning JavaScript. You can just focus on the JavaScript. And it might seem like when you're doing something dumb, like doing like reversing a string, which means reversing a word, that it's not very helpful, but it does help out a ton when you have to move up to complex problems. So learn algorithms and data structures. There's a bunch of classes on Udemy. You just look algorithms and data structures, and they'll teach you like the basics, even with just plain ES5. And then you can move on to something more robust like ES6. So Sunil says, oh, I'm sorry, Ramsey, I'm thinking about skipping JS and learning Ruby and Rails first. Well, I mean, ultimately, it depends on what you want to do and what your end goal is, right? So do you want to be a web developer? If you want to be a web developer, there's no way that you can not know JavaScript at all. You might, but it's definitely causing more headaches, because in the end it's going to be compiled down to JavaScript, or it's going to be compiled into JavaScript rather, and you're just going to have to know the quirks of something when you do it. But if you want to learn it first, and there's no like need for like financial need or career need at the time, yeah, that's totally fine. But if you're going into like this situation thinking, I need to get up to speed as fast as possible, so I can, because I want a job or I want to get my first freelance client, then I would recommend going through JavaScript first, even if it's just to get the basics, and then and then go into Ruby. And you know, Sunil, I was just thinking for a minute there. Another thing that you can do is read a few good books. JavaScript, The Good Parts is a great book to go through. JavaScript, The Weird Parts on Udemy is also great, by Tony Alicia. Great course. And You Don't Know JS series, which is free on GitHub, by Kyle Simpson. So I'll say that again. The You Don't Know JS series by Kyle Simpson is great. It's on GitHub for free, the entire series. JavaScript, The Good Parts, which is a book that you can get usually at most libraries. And then, what was the other one? JavaScript, The Weird Parts by Tony Alicia, which you can get on Udemy. And if you're smart about it, you can get it on sale for like $10. Yeah, I did a live stream on Friday, like in the middle of the afternoon, if you guys didn't see that, and it was hard. I remember why I stopped doing these live streams in the middle of my lunch. Like, it's racing to get here, racing to set things up, racing to set things down, waiting for people to get like involved. And so it's kind of a bummer there, but I'm glad I did it. I'm trying to do more of these live streams, at least 2 a week. Let me know if that sounds good to you guys, or if 1 a week is okay. Just to keep the content going, because I'm doing like 1 produced piece, because they take a long time, and then 2 live streams. Sunil says, do you need to learn about data structure and algorithms for a web developer job? Technically, no. No, you do not. You just need to know how JavaScript works. But if you want to know JavaScript really well, you're going to want to learn algorithms. Maybe not so much data structures. You can wait on that for a bit. But if you're going to do back-end work or something, learn data structures. But either way, it's just great for you to really, tighten down that JavaScript. 2 lives a week would be great, Ramsey says. Yeah, I'm good. I'm shooting for it. Jonathan says, I joined a boot camp, and I also go to community college for game design and programming. I'm learning so much. It's awesome, and watching your channel has showed me so much more. You're awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. I'm glad to see that. Let me actually pull up my phone here, Jonathan, while we talk about that. I know this isn't a question, but if you haven't done this and you have the ability, like you can afford it, I would recommend getting the Complete Software Developer's Career Guide. And I'm just pulling it up on my phone to show you guys. Let's see. Right here, yeah. Well, that's just my notifications. So let's see if it will focus here. Yeah. So this book has a specific chapter on game design or game development, working as a game developer. I would look into that, and just overall. Hey, you're welcome, Sunil. I would look into that, and just to kind of get an idea of what you're going to be learning. I'm sure you know a lot, but it can't hurt. And you're going to learn about development overall, testing, Q&A, what are some other big things there? Unit testing, studying, how to study JavaScript and stuff, and how you're going to work in teams, and the different types of environments you can work in. So it's a great book. You already have the audiobook. Nice, Jonathan. Nice. You're on top of it. Cool, man. No, it seems like you know what you're doing. So just don't want to leave any stone unturned that I know of. So sorry about that. Let's see. Corey says, I'm trying to build an app in React Native. Ooh, that's tough. I'm just got to, I got to hold on React. I'm thinking like, okay, before I go any farther, let's get this React done. Corey, tell me more about React Native and how different it is from React if you can. Right now, I'm learning about Firebase's new Firestore database. Trying to get the hang of it. I like Firebase. I used it in that course I just did. Firebase is pretty easy, in my opinion, but I haven't really dug deep into it. But compared to like MongoDB, where you have to set up like Node.js and stuff, it seems really simple. It kind of makes me think, should I learn MongoDB? Well, I've already learned it. Should I really go into depth? And I think so, just to learn more about databases and backend in general. But yeah, I like Firebase. Let's see. Ramsey says, I like John, but I'm always hesitant to buy these types of books. I totally understand, man. That's why you want to go and ask multiple people or see multiple different reviews. And I did a review on this audiobook, if you didn't know, and I didn't say everything positive. There's a section on women in tech and like racism. I hated those chapters. It just was kind of like uncomfortable, and I don't know if it was like the right place to talk about it. Like I'm talking about my career, and granted I'm not female, so I can't really talk about that, but I didn't know if it actually did more harm than good. Same with racism, where John was not coming from a place of experience on that. I didn't agree with it, but overall the book is fantastic. So Corey says Firebase is simple, I think. If I'm building my own product, I'd rather use Firebase because I won't have to manage my own database. Google can do it for me. Right. And I totally get that, and I totally understand that. I'm thinking more of like skills, techniques, and just understanding the entire stack. That's the whole reason why I do it. But that's a very valid reason, to get to market faster. I want to go ahead and understand how this whole thing works from front to back. And so it's different, but yeah, Firebase is probably, I know Firebase get you up to speed much faster, and you're still going to learn about databases and stuff and how data is stored. But MongoDB and Node are a little bit higher, not a little bit more in depth. By a little bit, I mean like a lot. So yeah. Let's go ahead and see. Let's see here. How many people we got in chat? Just 3, huh? Well, we've only been live for 9 minutes, 10 minutes. Usually we hit this stride like the 20-minute mark, and then I get a lot of people here. So I think I'll go ahead and share this with the Facebook community. For those of you who don't know, I'm in a Facebook community called, I'll pull it up in a minute. I think it's like self-taught programmers, and it's not bad. You get people from all sorts of experience levels. While I'm waiting to pull that up, I'll read this question here from Corey, or this comment. React Native is very similar to React, especially if you are using Expo, which I don't know what that is, but Expo, oh, you're going to tell us. Expo basically lets you build React Native stuff all in JavaScript, just like you can do with React, which is sweet. That's what I'm going to do. Ramsey says, Ricky, can you recommend a good WordPress course? I want to make some extra money and throw some client work on my resume. It's kind of weird, but I learned WordPress mostly ad hoc. I don't recommend doing that, but that's like how I first got into web development. I needed a website for my DJ services when I was a DJ. True story. But I would probably recommend Treehouse. Treehouse is great for all that stuff, but also lynda.com has a lot of great courses. But if you're starting from scratch, you can't go wrong with Treehouse. Even though I don't use them very much anymore, if I was going to start over and I was going to learn that, I would go to Treehouse. Same with like PHP or something, I would go to Treehouse. So, and I've already thought about it, but I really want to learn my language of JavaScript very deep with ES6 and all the special things that go with that before trying to like go super broad, because I'm already very broad with the design and the videos that I do and back end, front end. So I don't want to really stretch myself out that far. I hope that answers your question. I kind of went off on a tangent there. Yeah. And I've done Squarespace too. And I did Squarespace. I did a Udemy course, which was all online, and they've done great. We like to talk crap on some of these content management systems or like WordPress or Squarespace, but after you see the results that you've generated or someone else has generated, you can talk a lot less crap. When you've literally made a company like as much as they made last year in like a month, more than that, even more than that, then it's like, okay, these sites can be taken seriously. So, all right, so here, let me go ahead and actually share this with you. Give me just a moment here. Gotta do some things here. Hide the old chats. Here we go. Sorry about the wait, guys. It just, they have this chat feature on Facebook, and I don't want to show all of my, show everyone here that isn't in this web stuff. I don't think that's very cool. So it does take some time, so I appreciate that. But, being in a Facebook group is actually great. To be honest, it helps you learn a lot of stuff. Okay, so coming back here, I got that all fixed. It's very hard to do this stuff on the fly, so I apologize, guys. So this is the Facebook group. If you guys want to see if you can get added onto it. Now, granted, it's everyone from every type of level, from I don't know how to start, like haven't even started, to seasoned people, and so keep that in mind when you look into these things, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share this here. Oh, we got some good questions. Yeah, we started off pretty strong. Let's see here. Sunil says, do web developers have scope in future? Sunil, can you give me can you give me some more detail on that? I'm not exactly sure how to answer that. Corey says, but I did like Treehouse at the time. Yeah, I love Treehouse. Like I don't use it, like I said, but they're great to start. They gave me the confidence to become a developer. Hashtag not sponsored, but should be. So I really like them a lot. Let's go to my channel. Yeah, I always have a hard time sharing this live video. I'll tell you what, like, it's, YouTube doesn't make it easy to find this. So, it can be frustrating when you're trying to share some stuff. Oh, let's see, this one. So yeah, and keep on giving questions, guys. That's what we're here for. I'm not an expert, but I'll give you my opinion, and if I can help you in any way. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's talk web development. While I answer your questions. Appreciate you guys hanging on with me here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this on screen. Go ahead and share that with the group, huh? And see if they answer. All right, going through here. Let's see. Corey says, I initially started with Treehouse back in 2012. Whoa, going way back. Yeah, you're an OG there, Corey. I didn't know that. All right, let's go. let's get on topic here. I initially started Treehouse back in 2012, but I only lasted 1 or 2 months because I got very busy with work. Happens, man. It wasn't until 2016 where I fully dedicated myself to learning this. Okay, so you've been. I see where you're coming from. Yeah, that's great though, man. Congratulations on just sticking to it. You know, coming back to something after you've been gone for so long, that can be hard, to be honest. For me, it was. But I've always stuck with web development as soon as I got there because I done so much switching in the past. You know, I went to college. I switched my major a couple times. I switched a job, and I was like, no, I'm going to become a professional at this craft. Sonny says, do developers have scope in the future? Oh, I need some more, or it looks like you got that. Okay, so Morad says, should I learn jQuery in 2018? Yeah. But think about your, what you're trying to do though, first. Are you trying to become a designer, like a web designer, or do you plan on doing a lot of stuff with that? jQuery is great, but at the same time, you know, you could be learning React, which is kind of a bummer. But jQuery will get you up to speed really fast on interacting with the DOM and stuff. And there's a ton of like legacy stuff there, and you can still learn a lot of cool things like animations and CSS and appending to the DOM and events firing and stuff. It's going to get you up to speed. And it's going to give you some confidence to start programming because it can get you up to speed really quick without knowing the actual underlying code, which sounds bad, but it will give you confidence, and you have to keep on studying JavaScript in general. Andre Me says, hi, thank you for this Q&A session. Let me ask you this. Can one day into Ruby, I think is what you meant, or other language, but not WordPress, web development through freelance? Andre, I'm gonna, can one get into and stuff like that to contract? So, and that's also covered a lot in the Software Developer's Career Guide by John Sonmez. Sunil says, what is the scope of web developer after 10 years? Uh-oh. Are we back? Sorry about that, guys. It looks like it got disconnected for a minute. My apologies. Sunil says, let me know where I cut out there, guys. I appreciate that. So, what is the scope of web developer after 10 years? After 10 years, you know, I don't know. I've only been a web developer for quite literally a year. It depends on where you go, right? With anything, like I might be a web developer today. In 10 years, I could be a user experience designer, or a product manager, or a fellow in front-end web development. So it really depends on your company, where you're at, and where you want to go personally with your skills. Andre says, Ramsey says, do you normally work weekends? I thought web dev was Monday through Friday. You know, Ramsey, that's a great question. It depends on where you work, just like anything. I study on weekends, that's for sure, but I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but I still study all the time because, you know, if you want to get something done, or you have a project with that you don't know anything on, you better learn it. So it just depends. Corey says, you are back. Thanks, Corey. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. It happens, you know, with this Wi-Fi. I should have some Ethernet connection, but, you know, we're working up to that. I gotta focus on on the main things. If I cut out anywhere on one of your questions, let me know, and I'll re-answer it. Okay, guys? Sorry about that. And I gotta say, guys, I really do love these streams the most when we get to talk like this, when you guys have questions or comments. It keeps me engaged, because I live in a small area. If you haven't heard, if you have, you know, you're gonna hear it again. I live in a small area where there aren't any like web developers, at least that I know of, that I work with. There's probably a couple, but I don't get to talk to them. So talking to you guys is what keeps me in the loop a lot of the time, and other YouTubers and stuff. So I do appreciate it. Wow. Let's go ahead and check out the stream here. Well, while I wait for some more questions, I guess I could tell you what I got on the agenda today. I have 0 coding on today, which is weird. 0 coding, 0 React, JavaScript, any of that. It's actually just getting my outline for the video and my portfolio done. So that's what I'm focused on now, because I got to tell you, I got to map out the sitemap, and then the buyer personas or the user personas and all that stuff, which is coming up. But even before that, I have to know my entire roadmap, right? And I've learned a lot about user experience and how that fits in with the programming and the design. And so that's what I'm working on. It's going to be weird for this like first week, because it's mostly going to be getting the ideas out, writing down the objectives, then researching what we want things to look at, and then wireframing, and then towards the end of the week or the beginning of next week, probably more like up until like the end of, or in the middle of next week, designing what the portfolio is going to look like. And then I have to get all the assets like photography and stuff, which I will take you guys through and kind of explain what I'm doing there. Not like a whole blown tutorial, but do that as well. And then, you know, after in like a week and a half, I can finally get into structuring how the portfolio looks, and then so that will probably be in 2 weeks, but you're going to get videos. So anyway, Ramsey says, do you have a Slack channel or part of one? I do for work. I have a Slack channel for work, but not like my own specific Slack channel. It's because I'm pretty busy, so I try to keep my interactions to I try to keep them focused. I shouldn't say to a minimum. That's not true. I like to interact with people, but I try to keep them focused. Spread over too much is going to be hard for me. And Corey says, do you use Discord? It's a chat app popular among developers and gamers. I don't use Discord. YouTube is my primary focus, again, because there's so much I have to learn. There's so much that I do. The only way that I've been able to do this stuff is to keep focused. I have my tools, OBS, Camtasia, you know, Premiere, like the entire Adobe Create Cloud suite, and then for communication, Facebook and YouTube, and sometimes LinkedIn, but not very often. And I just keep those so I'm not losing all those skills, or not getting very deep in some other skills. What about you guys? What are your favorite ways to communicate? To be honest though, I do love Slack. I love using it at work. It's great. It beats the hell out of YouTube. Andre says, you're offline. Oh man. Let me know if I'm back, guys. Might have to wrap this up because the stream is just kind of wonky today. What was I talking about? I was talking about something. I was talking about... For React, Corey says, thanks for saving me here, Corey. For React, I use Discord under... Oh yeah, we were talking about chat apps. Corey says, for React, I use Discord under a server called Reactiflux. Lots of React fans there. Cool. I'll have to, if I have some time, I'll check it out. Oh, I was going to talk about this series. It'll help me organize my thoughts anyway right now. The problem I see with a lot of these series, and mine included, with like the Udacity React Now degree program, is, you know, you get some initial, let's see, what camera am I on? You get some initial interest, right? And you get more interest once you put in like 3 or 4 videos, and then you can really tell if it's going to be successful up to like about 10 videos, and then you're going to stay here and then maybe level off. Like even before then, I would say like at 8 videos, you're going to hit like as high as you're going to go if you get that high, and then you're going to level off. And so that's what I noticed with my entire series with the React Udacity Now degree, and also with Dev Tips. They have the React, like a React project. I watched about 5 or 6 videos and then I totally lost interest. It's just too long, you know, to try to keep track of all that stuff, and they're pretty long. So I think I'm going to try to squeeze it into 8 videos max. I want to get 6 videos, but I don't think I can fit in like the overview, this, you know, going through the objectives and writing down your personas and site mapping, and then wireframing, and then design. You see what I mean? There's like 5 right there. And structuring your code and then going through each piece of code. That's like sheesh, that's like 8. Maybe I can get it to 10 max, but you get the idea where I'm going with this, right? Let's see here. Andre says, too bad I didn't get to hear the answer of my question. Andre, let me know what your question was. Let me see. It says, hi, thank you for this Q&A session. Let me ask you, can one learn Ruby? Can one get into Ruby or other language but not WordPress and web development through freelance? Yes, you can. There's a government site here called the Idaho National Laboratory, and there are a lot of contract workers here that don't do WordPress. They have some language like Ruby or something, and they help the site do different things. The Idaho National Laboratory site. So you can definitely do that, but you got to be good. You got to know your stuff. You got to have some products or some projects to show that you really had. And best is having real world projects too. So even if it's for someone small or something, like, you got to have something like that. Ramsey says, I never have been a huge fan of social media, but now I'm learning web dev. I have questions all the time. I might sign up for Facebook now. Yeah, Ramsey, I don't use Facebook too much. Keep in touch with people I know from high school, but every time like I have a freelance project or something that I want just a little extra money, I can say, hey, I'm looking for a web, I'm looking for a freelance project. If you want something done, just let me know. Because sometimes I post my YouTube videos up there or talk about web development there. It's very, very easy for me to get a freelance job whenever I want it, just because, you know, I'm active on YouTube and it's my job and that stuff. So Facebook helps, LinkedIn helps a ton, and YouTube helps immensely for me. But if you do blogging and stuff, that can help too, like LinkedIn articles, just where you're visible to your audience and where they want to be. Corey says, could you turn that portfolio project into a Udemy course? Probably, but you know, for me, I should be doing Udemy. You're absolutely right, but it's only when it's quality. I'm very picky about like what I put up at work too. So like if whatever the specification is, if it doesn't work right away, I'm very unsatisfied with that. Sometimes it just is what it is, or you know, when I'm in the middle of building it. So let me take for example a project I had with making new email templates at work. I had to make new email templates at work, and they just wanted this new design. I said, well, hold on, let's do that better. In MailChimp, you can make like modules, right, of each one. I just said, why don't we put in a whole bunch of different modules or a whole bunch of different like sections that you can add, subtract, move around, so you can have like infinitely more layouts. So instead of like creating like 4 different emails, there's like 7 different like sections there, so you can make hundreds, if not thousands, of different layouts. And it took a long time. So when I make a Udemy course, I want it to be worth your money, right? Plus, I've only been here for a year. Jeez. You know, these are good training wheels, though. Like my how to market yourself as a web developer, video. That was like a training wheels. So after this, I could do that. I really want to do data structures and algorithms because they're easy. By easy, I mean easy to teach. But I don't feel like people really go into depth, and that's where like I feel like my production skills can really shine. Not that I'm the best video producer, but I have a lot more skills, I think, from what I've seen, than a lot of people that that do these tutorials and stuff. Corey says, I used to hit up IRC chat for questions of web dev. I'm starting to use Discord now. Cool. Yeah, I hit up Stack Overflow, but not really. It's just when I have a problem, Stack Overflow. I feel like Stack Overflow is kind of like a hostile environment. I hate to say it, but I do feel like Stack Overflow can be hostile if you're not like a seasoned developer. So, yeah. Hey, sorry. It's, you know, people here that I know. So, just saying hi. I stay in touch with YouTube. If you didn't know that already. Yeah, you guys, is that something you guys actually want from me? Is like a YouTube, not a YouTube, a Udemy like course? Or is that just a suggestion? Let me know. All right, Adrian came through on Facebook and posted my video, or posted my link to the live video. So thank you, Adrian, if you're here. Appreciate it. You always come through for me. Let's see, how long have we been going here? We've been live for about a half hour, which is fine. So we got about another half hour if you guys want. If I don't get any questions though, you know, we gotta move on. So I was talking about the React portfolio, what I have to do there. Excited to get it planned out. Gonna be kind of weird not coding after work, but you know, it is what it is. That's just part of the experience. That's part of the project, right? In the end, you're going to save yourself so much more time if you do that. Even at work, I've done that. I think I've told you this before, but I'm like completely restructuring the code because it's kind of made ad hoc. And once you start learning best practices in programming and like object-oriented CSS, like the BEM model, you see things that just hurt your eyes, and you've been through enough experiences to know like, okay, we can do this better. And so I just started restructuring without any new design and doing a little bit of design here and there because like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why would we have that there? Or we can make this a little bit better. And because I didn't have something laid out from the start, sometimes I had to go back and restructure my code, which sucks. We got through it, and it is looking a lot better, and it is working a lot better, all that stuff. But designing up front is going to save you a lot more time. So Corey says, just a suggestion. Cool, thanks, Corey. Sorry about the wait, guys. Just waiting on some questions here. Waiting on some questions from y'all. So yeah, I guess, I mean, this is probably the first time in a long time that I've done a no coding. I did it during the summer where I was just completely focused on video for 2 weeks because I got burned out, and it just happens. I still did coding at work and stuff, but it's been a while since I've done no code. Have any of you guys taken a break from code like that? And I guess it's not really fair because I'm not taking like a full break. I'm still putting in a full 8 hours at work, right? But no React for like maybe a week and a half, which is going to be different, but I think it's going to be fine because I know my foundations in ES6 and JavaScript, and I'm still doing code like JavaScript at work. But you know, it's going to be kind of weird taking a break from React for maybe a week and a half. I'm going to really try to get through these planning stages, but you know, it always takes more time than you think it is, or you think it does, every time. So yeah. Oh, if you're new here and I haven't seen you before, can you tell me where you're from? I'd love to know where you guys are coming from, just so I can kind of get an idea of where my viewers are. About 44% of you are from the US, just for your knowledge. And then everyone else is from everywhere else, with India being the second biggest with like 8% of my audience. And most of you guys are 18 to 34, right in that age group. focused with 24 to 34, 24 to 36, somewhere in there. But you're like around my age. I'm 29, by the way. Corey says breaks can be good for you. Yeah, they absolutely can. They can help you come back and understand something clearer. When I left that Redux, or when I left that Udacity project, it helped out so much just because I was not focused on the app itself, but focused on what I needed to know before I started trying to build the app. Full stack with React, and what was another thing I needed to know? Just basic JavaScript, you know. Ramsey's calling from Raleigh, North Carolina. Cool. Traversity Media talks about that, taking breaks. Let me know if that's what we're talking about, Corey. No days off for me, Ramsey Jordan says. Hey, man. Hey, I totally understand. Like, right now, like, I don't have any days off either, and I kind of feel gross. Like, I haven't brushed my teeth or something when I don't study for a day. I don't feel very good. I like to try to get in at least 3 hours a day, and on weekends, 6 hours a day, at least. And, well, let me rephrase that. At least 2.5 hours, probably more like 2.5 hours on the weekdays. Friday, I can take a little bit of a break and do like an hour and a half. And then on weekends, at least 6 hours a day, at least. I want to do 8, but there's only so many things you can do in a day. You know, you got family stuff going on, you got like housework and stuff. So 6 hours at least. You know, and you can make it up on different days. So, yeah, I don't like to take breaks either. Yes, Corey says yes. Cool. I need to watch more Traversity Media's stuff, I swear. But I usually just watch him for tutorials and stuff. And he's great. If you guys haven't seen Traversity Media, you should definitely check him out. His name's Brad. So very East Coast accent. Love the guy though. It's just you know, sometimes you gotta focus just to make sure you get this stuff right. But overall, he's great. Like, not even overall, he is great. So check him out. Cold coffee, I'll tell you what, tastes great. So Ramsey says, so true, the days just aren't long enough. Absolutely. And that's one of those things you got to realize it takes time. I hate it. I know everyone else hates it. But it does take time. You know, they have these courses, or they have these sayings like you can become a web developer in 3 months. And while that may be true, you got to realize it can take a lot longer. And even if you're at that 3 months, that's like the minimum. That's like the minimum to be a developer. And that's not it, you know. So a lot of these people are like, oh, I just want to get into something and make money, which is fine. I'm not going to even say it's not fine. It's fine if you can do web development to make money. But that's not going to be the entire story. That's not going to be able to carry you, and you're not going to be done. You're going to be learning all the time. So things take time, and there's not enough time in the day. Absolutely. Nicole says, is HTML, CSS, and JS enough to get an internship, or should I wait to do jQuery and PHP as well? I don't know if I'm qualified to answer this question, but I'll give you my opinion. Nicole. If you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you have like a portfolio piece, I'm pretty sure you can get an internship. Especially if you're in school and you're studying something like CS or computer science or something around that, like web design or something. Should be all right, but you should be learning jQuery if you're doing web design with JavaScript, because it's going to make your life easier to do things. You're going to have to learn some new syntax and stuff, but it's still JavaScript, and you're still going to learn JavaScript, and it's going to help you do more things. PHP, that can wait for a while. So that's my opinion. If anyone's done an internship or have applied for internships, let us know. Help Nicole out so she can get a better idea of what to expect, and maybe some background on you, Nicole. If you give us some more information about you specifically, we might be able to answer that question better or more in depth. What's up, son? My son's giving me the what's up look. So just hanging out here. How long have we been on? We've been here for 40 minutes. We've been live for 40 minutes. Hot darn. I haven't done very much of screen shares today, and that's totally fine. Maybe I'll talk about how many subscribers. I had a really big jump for a while. It seems to be coming back down with subscribers and views. and it's kind of come down now, and that's totally fine. I appreciate, you know, the spike and when new people get involved. I'm at 2,451 subscribers as of literally right now, and it's great. I like that you guys come through. It lets me know that I'm talking about the right things, or at least I think so. Granted, I might not grow as big as other channels. I think I talk about different things. I don't do too many quote-unquote tutorials. Even this React portfolio isn't really a tutorial. It's like, hey, this is how I made it. This is what I found, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And that's how I've always done things. I think I am to the point where I could do tutorials. But when I'm making something new the first time, I'm not going to say like, hey, here's a tutorial. Here's how to do it. So, yeah, just moving right along. Oh, Prince says, oh, I see. Thank you very... Yep. Well, this is a comment on something else. So, this is a comment on a different video. I'll get to that later. Ramsey says, I applied for an internship at Lenovo, but didn't get it. I wasn't ready when I applied anyways. Now I feel that I'm ready. Tell us more about that experience. I love Lenovo. This laptop that I'm using is a Lenovo laptop. ThinkPad is my favorite brand of computer. I know that sounds awful, but even this, like the new consumer brands that I have, they're sleek, they're sexy, but they're not robust. And sometimes I've gotten better over the years, but I treat my laptops like crap. So heavy-duty ThinkPad is what I love. That can replace a desktop. All 7 chunky pounds of it. But Lenovo, yeah, that's a cool place. I like Lenovo. Tell us some more about that, Ramsey. When I applied, Ramsey says, when I applied, I didn't even know how to position with CSS. Dude, and to be honest, like, positioning with CSS is tricky. And it depends on what they want you to do, right? Set it to absolute, set it to relative, then setting left, or are you centering it? Margin auto. But is it in a flex box? Are we going to use align items or align self? So I totally get that. That's like the trickiest thing. Once you master like layout, you're good, right? You're good. You can do a lot of things after that. So yeah, learn your layouts and stuff. Learn CSS. That's one thing that I feel like I don't talk about enough, because it's like I know that, quote unquote, no. But learn your CSS too, and I'm sure there's a bunch of interview questions that you can look at. But yeah, that's something that you could totally do. Nicole says, well, I have some basics in C and Java, but front end seems easier, and then back end. And I just started out with computer engineering. All good things. Here's the thing that I find when people are like programmers getting into front end. They tend to think that front end is easy when not necessarily. It's different. It's if you're just doing HTML and CSS, that's not front end anymore. That's part of front end, but and that's not even like all of web design. You have to know like jQuery and stuff now for design, and it can be easy, but there are a lot of edge cases, right? If you're going to do animation, how are you going to do that? Are you going to do that on a hover? Are you going to do transition? What browsers is that going to be supported in? How many browsers do you have to support? Do you need a vendor prefix? It's not like, you know, thinking of the problem hard sometimes in a sense of like, okay, I have this array of data, I need to map it out, or I need to transform it, or I need to store it. But yeah, it's a different type of hard, and it's something like, well, I can't make this design translate exactly how the designer had it, or things like that. How can I communicate that with the designers and the team, or how can I make the best compromise, or how close can I get it? Those are things that you have to do a lot of. So think about that. C and Java are great, but they're very programmatic. You know, you're going to have to look at more CSS, HTML, maybe some Sass, which is your programming skills will help out a ton with Sass. And using the developer tools. I use Google developer tools. That speeds up my workflow immensely. So definitely check it out. And this is in no way to discourage you. It's just, one, to defend front-end developers and to let you know the differences of what you're trying to get into. Whew, that was a long one. Sorry about that, guys. I need some water. I need some coffee or something. And if you guys have any opinions or any advice for Nicole, let her know, you know. if you have any experience in that. Ramsey says, I hope Web 3.0 will make a standard so all browsers support the same features without adding WebKits and the extra testing. Preach, Ramsey. I know the feeling. You know what though? Like, I've had to make a lot of emails, and so I made this universal template, which was very hard because it has to fit all perfectly, and it has to work on all the browsers, even when it fits, right? And if you think like web development is hard, like emails templating with HTML is wicked hard, and it's not like programmatic or anything like that. It's just that it's so archaic. Oh man, I have respect for people who have to do emails day in and day out, like coding them or designing them. So it could be worse. It could be worse, but yeah, it would be nice. Maybe like 10 years in the future, there's a standard that everyone is required to follow. That would be ideal. And I apologize about the noise. This is a public place, so I try to keep my voice up here. So. What can you do, huh? Oh, I told you I had 2,451 subscribers. That is false. I actually have 2,452. So, thank you for subscribing. And if you guys do like this content, if you guys appreciate the live streams or like the live streams, you want to see more of it, of course, always share this stuff. It helps me out a ton. Like and comment like you're doing now. That helps keep the channel going. It helps me be more successful, and it's just good for the algorithm. It helps us get out in front of more eyes. Of course, that's only if you agree with that. If you feel like, hey, I've gotten value out of this, and someone could use this as well, or I do like this content, or I have something to say, or I have a question, by all means do it. So I'm just putting it out there. Sometimes you have to actually ask. And I'm that way too. Like sometimes I forget, like, oh yeah, I should like this video. Thanks for letting me know. Or I do want to subscribe to this video. So Ramsey says, I always hear the first 3 months of junior dev work is email stuff. It depends on where you're at, man. It depends on where you're at, to be honest. I do everything. So I've done setting up like a database and sending information to the database, creating a landing page, debugging and cleaning up an entire site's HTML, and cleaning up some CSS, to completely redoing the architecture now, and email stuff, and even like video production, which I mean that's not in there, but it's just something that I did. And then doing like photography and putting some of those pictures in there, landing like form creation and workflows through HubSpot. So it's totally different everywhere, and that's what I've heard from people I've interviewed on this channel on their first year in web development and just talked about. So, but in your area, maybe that is, but the first 3 months of junior web dev is email stuff. That must suck. So there's so many things that, go wrong in different places, and you just need to cover as many email clients as you can, whether it be Outlook or something like that. So, and like I said, it's not like really programmatic, it's just all these tiny gotchas. Email has a ton of gotchas, and more than anything else, and you just have to remember them, right? It's not anything like intellectual, I feel like, which isn't to say that that's bad for anyone that does it, because it is definitely a craft, but it's the real craft comes into like what the user does, like what are you going to make the user feel, or how I can use this and stuff. So that's my opinion, and I apologize if I've offended anyone with that opinion. Let's see, we're at 50 minutes here. So I got about 10 more minutes here before I have to go get my day, continue on with my day. Huh? Sorry, my son's trying to say something to me. What? Get my day started. Well, we've already started our day. So get on with the rest of my day here, and yeah, so give me some more questions, by all means. Also, I have a question for you guys. Do you feel like I'm improving as a presenter, as a YouTuber, or do you think I've fallen stagnant, or even worse, do you think that I've kind of fallen off? I won't be offended or anything like that. I'm legitimately asking to see where I can improve and things like that, to know where you guys feel like I could improve. all out of coffee. Geesh. While I wait on some more questions or some more answers from you guys, let's talk about that getting a job, I guess. That's what we always talk about, right? Just some quick tips. Have a portfolio, know your stuff, research, get your personal branding on point, and that could be as simple as making sure your LinkedIn's really nice. I had a friend of mine actually look at my LinkedIn yesterday, just to check it out, and I'm sure he's looking at others. I know he was, and just to get his on point. And I should be doing that too, but I kind of do like half refreshes is what I call them. Like I don't do complete rebrandings all the time. Like maybe I'll rebrand like the images and the profile picture or something like that, and then I'll like go through another section and do that later. Like maybe like my work experience. Make sure to do that, and so do things like that. They're easier to get started on like that. Well, Ramsey says, I like the channel and the live streams are great. Cool, man. The live streams are a struggle for me, for everyone, to be honest, but particularly for me. Sometimes, you get disconnected. Sometimes I don't have the mic on. So, it's that's part of going live. So I'm glad that you're enjoying the live streams, and we can have these questions and Q&As and stuff. Helps me think about like, am I doing the right thing? Am I talking about the right stuff? Well, let's see here. Okay, so we've been going for 52.5 minutes. It looks like we're all out of questions. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Again, I have got to get my outline done today. Work on like the ideas, the creation, setting out the React portfolio, meaning like research and objectives, writing them down, putting them into like a PowerPoint, fancy, and getting that out. Hopefully I can get it out today. I should get it out today, but it takes a long time to put together a video and do all that other stuff too, right? Okay, well, thanks for coming by, guys. I appreciate you always coming by. If you have any additional questions or comments for me, let me know in the comment section below. And if you're watching this later, you can still put this in the comments below and I'll answer as soon as I can. It can be a little bit hectic sometimes, and sometimes if you have a difficult question, it takes a while. Ramsey says, I have to improve my LinkedIn. Yeah, everyone does. I don't have too many connections, and my current coworkers aren't the least bit tech inclined. Hey man, it's overall not just about being tech inclined, but being someone that someone wants to work with. So those connections are valuable, and having what am I trying to say here? Having recommendations are very valuable. So think about that. It's not just about the tech connections. Anyway, I'm going to get my day started. Thanks for coming. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. If you like this, leave me a like. If you enjoy this content, consider subscribing and sharing with someone that you know. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Oh, man. I think that we are all done here, son. Nope, we're still live. Hey, guys. All right, talk to you guys later.